Hey, I just wanted to pass along a few follow-up notes. This is the cucumber that I started from seed, and it is 23 days from seed before I introduced it into the grow container, and the three other cucumbers in this container were just clones from an older plant. The seed plant has had several great big leaves on it, and as a matter of fact, I've taken off probably 5 or 6 of those giant leaves, and here's an example of how large some of those giant leaves happen to be. But it's been growing along quite nicely. However, in spite of all the vigorous growth and all the vining and flowering that I've seen, the actual cucumbers have not gotten that large on the plant yet, and they are still all of a smaller size. I'll try not to knock that one off. So it's quite a surprise because I figured that the cucumbers would be a little bit larger by now. Also notice the profuse vining that has happened from the base of the plant, and that's of particular notice because the clones are not branching like this. As a matter of fact, they're coming up with a single stem. Each of these clone plants have the single stem feature from when they were originally cut off and do not branch like the seeded one that I had shown you. Neither of the two tip clones have gotten extremely large either. However, here's something that I found interesting. First, the leaf structure has enlarged, and now the clone plants are on pace with the seeded plant in terms of the leaf canopy. More importantly, the clones are setting on larger cucumbers and multiple cucumbers that are getting larger in comparison to the plant that was started from seed. There are even a couple that are hanging off the side of the container that are forming. So the clones are much more productive in terms of viable cucumbers that will soon be ready for harvest. And that crazy cucumber plant that is headed for the grow light was actually the piece of vine that was in the middle of a stem. It wasn't even a tip cutting. And so I'm really happy to see that it is growing, and it's probably just a couple weeks behind in terms of being productive. I was wondering whether or not it would even produce cucumbers. What I'm finding is that it is putting on baby cucumbers in a cluster, which is weird. And there's probably, around 6 little cucumbers that are forming at the juncture of the vine right here. And I'm going to be curious whether or not they grow to a size that I could actually use them. The plant continues to grow and might have enough photosynthesis to help drive the production of those cucumbers. Let's try to take a quick peek inside the container. And you could tell that not only the vine, but also the roots on the clones are doing quite well. The planting sites are getting nutrients with a single stream jetted at the base of those. And there's a pump in the bottom of this container that is circulating the entire nutrient solution, bathing them constantly. I'm just topping off with water, and about every 14 days adding additional nutrients. So it's been a little crazy, I know, in terms of inundating everyone with all this information on cloning and seeding and what happens. But hopefully, if you follow along from part 1 all the way up through today, it's going to be a little enlightening, no pun intended, in terms of what I'm finding out and how that will benefit me in the future in terms of growing, but While the plant from seed was quite hardy and still remains to be, and it may have a higher overall production, I just cannot fathom getting away from cloning cucumbers, because to have a small vine with multiple harvestable cucumbers on it fits quite nicely underneath a grow light and allows me to use, say for example, 4 clone plants and have a small footprint with a lot of harvest.